Today's episode is all about the concept of getting a seat at the table. Now, listen, if you're one of those missions where you're like, I can get a seat at the table, it's all closed off. Everything is so hard to get into the rooms in front of the leaders and the decision makers that I want to. I want you to know the underpinnings of today is if you can't get a seat at the table, you're going to bring your own damn chair. So that's what we're talking about today. We're talking about how to put yourself in rooms when you want to grow your revenue. This isn't necessarily the idea of old school networking, but we are going to talk about strategic networking. And if you're thinking, oh my God, Christina, I'm so shy or I'm so awkward or I hate networking, networking is so salesy or it's cheesy, we're going to hit all of those things today. I'm not going to make you be a cheesy networker. I'm not going to make you do anything that makes it just completely cringe, where it's like, this is so not me. This is about networking in an aligned way, aligned for your ideal people and aligned for you, for your bandwidth, for your energy, for your nervous system. And we cannot stay comfortable and cozy all the time. I'm going to ask you to stretch. I'm going to ask you to expand. I'm going to ask you to get comfortable with being a little bit uncomfortable, because if you want a different result than the one you're getting right now or the one you got last year, or you're just ready for an up level, you have to up level. So it's going to take a little bit of a risk, a little bit of a leap. So that's kind of the foundation for today's episode. So most nonprofits come to me and say, we want bigger gifts. We need more major donors. We need more sponsors, more recurring revenue, more influence, more people just championing what we do. But you spend your days inside your inbox on Zoom, maybe with the same 4 or 5 people in the office or online, right? Same people, rinse and repeat every single day. Same Slack channels, same inboxes. So if you're destined to lead or build something great, you can't do it in isolation. Big missions require big rooms, and that growth requires access. This episode is about intentionally placing yourself where generosity, opportunity, and decision makers gather, influencers gather, potential partners gather. So first, let's address, Christina, I don't have time for this. Nonprofit culture teaches leaders, marketers, fundraisers to stay in their lane, avoid being too much, too visible, right? That thinking is the reason why so many organizations stay stuck over the same revenue ceilings year after year. You don't need more time, you need better rooms. These can be virtual rooms or literal in-person rooms. So you don't need to grow by doing your work quietly. You grow by staying top of mind in spaces where strategy, influence, and capital live. Okay, so let me give you some examples. An example might be a single breakfast where a local CEO can do more in 6 months of you just cold outreaching people. One relationship, one conversation with somebody who has natural alignment to your cause. It could be one lunch with a funder who can bypass 2 years of cultivation. You're doing the handwritten this and the follow-up that. One lunch could collapse that timeline by 2 years. A 20-minute virtual coffee chat can turn into a corporate sponsorship. Now, you might be on paper thinking, okay, but how do I get in front of the CEO? Or can a 20-minute conversation really do that? Yes. I want you to think back to the easiest $20,000 your organization ever made, the easiest $50,000 your organization ever made, and ask yourself where it came from. Did not come from the sky, even if it felt like it came from the sky. It was not just magic. It was not a lottery ticket. It was likely from one particular major donor, one gift. And there are so many major donor relationships that you are not having, you're not cultivating, because you're avoiding this one-to-one potential outreach, right? You're avoiding getting into these rooms and you're staying in the inbox. You're staying in the office. You're doing more of the rinse and repeat, which is what we talked about last episode. I also want to flag something else that is essential. Whether or not your organization is doing $100,000 a year or $1 million a year or $5 million a year, this is key. Lean in for this. You need to constantly be bringing in new leads to your pipeline every single month. Now, leads can be a couple of different things here. Leads could be donor leads. Leads could be new email subscribers. I like both. I like both for you because those email subscribers can be non-donors who then turn into donors. So it is very, very hard for your organization to grow sustainably if I am talking to the same pool of people over year 1, 2, 3, and 10, right? And maybe you're trickling in a handful of new people every single year. I was just coaching somebody in the club and we were looking at their year over year audience growth. And where we landed was, okay, the goal is about 2,000 more new subscribers, new people in their email, right? I'm not talking about social, in email over the course of the year. That is going to help them with their projections and their goals to bring in new recurring monthly donors. We need new. Now we tap into the current, we tap into them, we upgrade, we retain, we do all of that, but it's a both and conversation. So then naturally, organizations will come to me and go, I've tapped out everyone. I've done everything I can. I don't know anyone new I can ask. I've done everything. So let's talk about these rooms to choose intentionally. So we're going to list it. I'm going to go over 4 different categories of rooms where I want you to get a seat at the table or bring your own damn chair. Okay. So these spaces are where people can open doors. And some of this is good old fashioned networking. And you can ask yourself, when was the last time I did that? I've done that so many times. I cannot count. And so many different outcomes of networking has happened. Last fall, I went to a We Are for Good, like Impact Uprising, one of their meetups. And it was the first one in a while that I was able to attend. And I just taught a webinar this week, and one of the amazing nonprofit leaders I met at that meetup attended my webinar, and she's like, "Oh my gosh, we're joining Sprint." And it's like, it gets us out of our own head. We get to ideate, we get to vent, we get to do so many different things. And had I not put myself in the room, because like I think it was rainy that day, I was tired, all the reasons. So you got to get in these rooms, even if you're like, part of your brain is like, I don't want to. Go. Commit and go. So here are the rooms. 1, influence rooms. These are spaces with people who can open doors. So these are people who are connected. So think about the power of a warm intro. You're not necessarily going with the energy of like, I need her to be a donor. It's more of like, this is somebody who is a thought leader in healthcare, and I know she's a great connector. Or this is somebody who is like an intermediary between somebody who may have some advice for you on board recruitment or new donors or something like that. So these are spaces with people who can open doors. So it could be your Chamber of Commerce, local business roundtables, meetups, YPO or EO style groups, the Rotary, regional economic development meetings. If you serve a particular country, meet with, if there's a local ambassadorship in your city, meet with that, get to know the people in your community. If you serve, I'm thinking about an organization that serves Haiti, an organization that serves Panama, an organization that serves Uganda. Find the population in your local town. Go to those areas. I'm Greek. So if I worked with an organization that served Greek people, then I would be like, I need to know my Greeks. I need to get in. I'm going to go to where they gather. I'm going to go talk to, the people who are putting on the local Greek festival. I want to get in those rooms. I want to get part of those planning committees. Industry breakfasts where executives gather. This is a huge one. These are happening all the time and you're missing them. And when you get there, we're going to talk about what to do here in a second. You're not going to get there and be a wallflower. You're not going to get there and you don't always have to present. Although one of my clients, she's in Jamaica and she's so good. She is so great at getting in these rooms. She will work her chamber. She will work her Kiwanis Club, and she will talk about this amazing work she's doing with preemies, with caring for preemie babies and their families, right? And so really, she's willing. She's like, give me the mic. I got this, right? But really thinking about, it doesn't have to be give me the mic moment for it to be strategic networking. All right. Another would be funding rooms. So places donors, partners, business sponsors already hang out. These may be professional networking groups, conferences aligned with your mission. So I'm thinking of a client in the club where conferences are a huge part of her strategy this year. It is okay for your organization to pay for you to attend a conference. In fact, it's more than okay. It is strategic. That can change everything. That is how you're like, okay, instead of calling this person and emailing this person and following up on my call and email and handwriting them a note, I'm going to go to the conference that I know they'll be at. And I know that there'll be 50 other people who fit that same persona, who have natural alignment with who I'm trying to reach. Like, conferences could be huge and y'all aren't going. Y'all aren't going. It bums me out because your ideal people are hanging out there. I just coached another client and we were talking about two things for them. We were talking about really building up their awareness of the work they do and really becoming problem aware. So more awareness. And then we were talking about fundraising, right? So bringing up new donors. And what we backed into is like, where is your most ideal donor hangout? Like, where are they, virtually or in person? Now we need to get in front of those people, right? Where are they? What funding rooms are they in? So local foundation events, alumni gatherings, conferences, right? Where even CSR, corporate social responsibility and HR leaders attended. You can go to these. You're allowed to go. The purpose here is it skips and bypasses any gatekeepers. It shortens the cycle of having to do this cold outreach to new donors. The next one is visibility rooms. Visibility rooms are opportunities for you to be seen as the expert. So this is a little bit more of what I was talking about with the doctor who is in Jamaica, who's always like, I've got this. Like, she's so great at this, right? Opportunities to be seen as an expert. A while back, we had Jen Graham on the podcast, the founder of Inclusive. She's so good at this. She is like not only is she like pass the mic, she's very generous at passing the mic, especially to other women, but she is such a deep connector. And it's the reason why she grew her organization in a relatively short amount of time. I'll be at a conference or I'll be at a panel and everybody knows Jen. And it's because she's doing the work. She's getting in front of so many people. There is no talk too big. There is no talk too small. There is no conference that is, like not for her. She's like, I'm in. She's like very much coming from the place of yes. Leading workshops or board retreats, hosting a LinkedIn Live with a partner. Y'all know you can do this. You can host IG lives, LinkedIn lives. I had clients do TikTok lives, guesting on somebody else's podcast. This is really where it's like, where could I show up and network in front of some other audience, in front of another established audience? Now, this takes bravery. We'll get to that in a second. Don't worry. Inner circle rooms, coaching groups, masterminds, professional cohorts, peer learning networks, board committees, right? This is where you can sharpen your thinking and expand your boldness. So let's now level set that strategic networking is not being everywhere. I am not saying go pitch yourself, go network your face off, because not all action and not all networking is created equal. You need that level set. We need that alignment. So for example, being in the nonprofit sector, doing the work that I do, I am not going to go to a professional landscapers conference, right? A professional gardening conference. Could be cool, or a boat show. Could be great conference. Not for me, not natural alignment. It's going to be a long walk for me to find aligned clients there, a longer walk, right? So you want to make sure you're narrowing in on really the right room, who is in the room. You're choosing rooms based on who's in the room, what decisions get made there, what influence circulates, whether the room makes them stand taller. Do you feel good about this room, right? Does this room help shorten your path to your next funding goal? Does this give you education towards your next funding goal? Does this put me in proximity where people can say yes? Does this room stretch my leadership identity? If not, it's not the right room. It's the boat show, right? So there's two types of rooms you could do. You could do a continuing education room, which would be less for this awareness and for donor relations, but would be really smart. I'm going to be at GiveCon in May. Highly recommend joining me there. It's such a good 3-day just education, networking, people who get it. I like to say it's like fundraising summer camp. So I highly recommend that if you're looking for more of like a skill building. But if we're talking specifically about this idea of building up your networking skills, building up your awareness in your community. This is the work you need to do. Start researching. Maybe you want to research local, what's happening. Maybe you want to go regional. Maybe anything that's less than a 4-hour drive you're up for. Maybe you're up for flying to a conference. You could pitch yourself to a conference. Maybe your lowest lift is your local chamber of commerce. Really start to think about, there are so many opportunities to network. I think you first need to figure out, who are my ideal folks I want to network with, and where are they hanging out. Okay, the next lesson here is how to network like a leader and not like this graspy, salesy, I'm I gotta hunt you kind of energy, right? Where it's like, it feels gross for you, and it also definitely doesn't feel good for it's like get energy. That's the word I'm looking for. It's very in get energy. So don't apologize for taking up space, but don't also do so salesy, so hard, close the deal energy that you're like repelling any potential partnership, where the person's like, doesn't actually want to exchange cards, right? They're like, I don't actually want to continue this conversation. So how do you do this? You're going to get better putting your reps in, right? You're going to get better just through doing this. I like to really say, okay, I'm putting on my extrovert hat for right now, and I'm going to talk to myself kindly through this process. And I'm just going to treat it light and fun and like an experiment, and not so like I have to close this deal energy, not the like ugh kind of way. So you're going to introduce yourself, shoulders back, courage, confidence. You're going to lead with your point of view. Do not end up sounding like I'm reading from your website with mission statement. I like to think like, what's a story I can have on hand? What are a couple questions I can ask if I'm talking one-on-one or in a small group with people, just to keep the conversation going, right? What are some recent wins you could share of what you're building next? Asking people. This is key. Ask people about their work first. People love talking about themselves. So I recently heard a podcast. I don't know where I heard it, about a research study where they were doing an A/B test. And the control group was just a regular, old conversation where it was kind of split 50-50, where people were volleying on questions and listening and answering, and questions and listening and answering. And then the experiment group was where one person was asking a lot of the questions, very interested, very active listener, and the other person got to do a lot of talking. And at the end, the people who did a lot of talking they liked the other person better than the conversation that was like just split 50-50, meaning people like to talk. People like to talk about themselves. So you could be an amazing, excellent networker by asking great questions, actively listening, being really interested, being really curious, and then exchanging cards afterwards. I like to connect with somebody on LinkedIn. That can be your touch point. It doesn't have to be like you're giving them a slide deck level of pitch, right? It's actually like active listening is key, asking great questions. So really thinking about, how can I do that in a way that works for me? You can even give yourself a little micro goal. I'm going to talk to 3 new people tonight. It doesn't have to be 30. You don't have to start, I'm just going to go to this networking event. I'm going to talk to 3 people, right? Following up through that process. So here you're not asking for anything, you're creating opportunity and awareness. I cannot tell you, just on the awareness piece, how that will change your life. For more people to know about the work you do, everybody knows somebody who knows somebody, right? The person you're talking to in this networking meeting, in this event, at this conference, may not be your exact fit donor, board member, volunteer, but they know somebody who is. And do you know how good it feels to help connect that person, right? So I'm thinking about a grief support group I'm aware of, right? And so to be able to say, hey, I know this group. Oh my gosh, I can't believe that's yes, let's connect, let's hear about it, right? And so the person you're talking to may just be one step away from what you're looking for, or that next warm intro. Okay. So how do you build this in? How do you create this habit? This is what we do inside my programs. Absolutely. Because lead gen is so important, and getting out of your own way and expanding this muscle, your expertise to talk about the work you're doing, is so key. So you can start just calendaring in a simple networking habit. It might be, I'm going to go to one networking meeting a month. That's it. It might be, I'm going to have, LinkedIn can be huge. I'm going to have 5 Zoom coffees a month. That's it. 15-minute coffees will change your lead life. So you get to decide, but I would at least do this once a month, and I would calendar this in. But listen, You might be thinking, I don't have time, right? I don't have time to do this. You don't have time not to do this. Don't check your email so much, right? The next time you go to check your inbox or write a blog or create a social post, do this instead. 15 minutes, one Zoom coffee, send out some emails, send some DMs, go find a networking meeting, find a conference, go to the conference. Go to the conference and really go to the conference. When I'm at a conference, I am at a conference. I am engaged. I am at the breakfast, even though I'm tired. I am at the after thing. I am talking. This is time. This is my time. And we go. We make it happen, right? We rest when we rest. And when we're there, we do it. So go with that energy behind it. Our clients have absolutely shown up and landed major donors, major gifts because of a breakfast, because of a conference, gained corporate sponsorships from a LinkedIn coffee chat, right? The ones who step up to take the stage, be the guest on the podcast, this changes their visibility and their trajectory. So go do this. If you're thinking, I'm introverted, this isn't mingling, right? This isn't dating. This isn't Christina says you have to host the conference, right? It's targeted. It's one-to-one. It will make you a better fundraiser. When you're a better fundraiser, you're going to serve your people better. You're going to raise more money to help more people. So even if you're introverted, you can do this. If you're thinking, I don't know where to start with proximity. What is the easiest lift? I've mentioned a bunch. Pick the one that makes you like cringe the least. Do that. One room, one something. If you're thinking I'm not good at networking, great. None of us are good at networking. You can actually say this. Oh, it's so hard. Like you can be like, this is so awkward. And the person will be like, this is so awkward, right? You don't have to be perfect. We are all human living in a human world. So it's just a matter of taking the first step. If you want help to do this, you need to join the programs I'm in, right? So send me a DM. Tell me what you're working on. Send me an email. I would love to know where you're working towards this year. Where do you feel stuck? And I'm happy to help you with any resource, tool, or program I have. I'll see you in the next one.